We're here with the world famous Ricky Hebert, cabinet man extraordinaire of Lake Charles, Louisiana. This was our visit to Rick Hebert in Lake Charles, Louisiana, a regular customer of ours. And Rick wanted us to be especially sure to mention that his sponsor, in this case, the guy that helped him buy the machine, one of the contractors he works for, is Brandon Terrell, who is the owner of Trademark Homes in Moss Bluff, Louisiana. Rick is a cabinet man. When you see the gallery shots of the cabinets that he has done, these were all made on the greenBull machine. The actual structure was done on that machine. So what we were trying to show is raw material, machining process, finished product, so that you get an idea of the capabilities of the greenBull. Everybody is very impressed with this vacuum table. One thing to keep in mind when you buy a kit versus a complete product is, along with the joy of putting it together, you're also able to customize it to your own needs. So Rick built a vacuum table for his machine to hold down the workpiece as he's able to work on it. And he really, he put a lot of effort into that. He made his with 10 separate zones and 4 very large centrifugal blowers. So all the piping under that machine is just pulling air through the material, through the MDF spoil board, and exhausting it out the exhaust of the motors. And what Rick did in this case is the vacuum table that he built is sized for the different products of wood that he typically uses, which he typically uses 4x8 sheets and 5x5 sheets. The vacuum zones are configured to hold the particular sizes of wood that he deals with. I was excited at Rick's to find that he had a triple edge finder made by the Maker's Guide, which is also Bill Griggs, who does the podcast CNC router tips, which I love. I've listened to every episode, I think. And I was glad to see one in action because I had not actually seen one personally until that point. It's a touch plate and a calibration tool. So there's a homing sequence that he uses. It gets its height, and then it has a circle through which it moves that's a known of a known radius. And so it allows the machine to calibrate itself and each time before you use it.
In my dreams, I laugh and smoke. Everybody screams, we tell them jokes. I like to gamble, sure don't ever lose. Got a closet full of pinstripes, 3-piece suits. I pull laces, you pull twos. When I wake up, I don't know what to do. I battle them demons dead of the night. I don't come home, the sun shines bright. I walk with you, but are you walking with me?
Rick has a pneumatic nail gun that he uses to nail down the very small pieces on his table so that they don't shift during the cutting operation. And that's because even though he has a relatively strong vacuum, it's only pulling on the area that it's in contact with. And so when that surface area is beyond or below a certain point, then there's not enough suction to hold the piece in some cases.
Tell everybody's on the same street. I pull laces, you pull twos. When I wake up, I don't know what to do.
Now, according to our clock on this recorder, the whole process from putting the wood on to finished product took less than 13 minutes. And we got 10 cabinet parts.
Took 6 minutes, 18 seconds.
On the machining process. So it took almost as long to put the wood on as it did the machining.
Pretty much.
You've been doing this a while. I suspect that you used to do it by hand before you had the machine. How long would that have taken by hand?
It would take a lot longer to do that, I can tell you that, because one, the machine breaks your parts into different sections to where those big parts would come out on one piece and then I'd have to cut down again and everything to be able to start getting that. The yield and the time that this thing saves on material and labor is ungodly. I mean, it really is. This process, if I had to do that out of one sheet, it's theoretically impossible.
Oh, because you'd have to re-square it up?
Yeah, because you're looking at different little pieces, and you see how your lineup is on each one.
Yeah.
Cabinet division takes and it places its parts from it to where this straight cut, this would have had been another straight cut
I see what you're saying.
until you get to things like that.
So you got 3 different sets of savings. You got the material savings of being able to nest your parts,
Right.
and then also the time savings of the labor of the cutting.
This would probably take close to 2 rips to 3 rips to be able to get these parts out of it. So that would take, if it took 2 rips, that's 1 sheet, all right? But I don't think you can do it because you're going to end up with a problem. And so you would actually get into another sheet to be able to cut what's laying on here right now.
So let's just say that theoretically you could have done it out of 1 sheet with the 2 rips. How much would it have taken just in time savings?
Oh man, I'd say it would take me probably about at least double the time. It would take double the time for me to do that.
And how much a sheet of plywood?
You got to think about one. I got to get the sheet, cut it,
Move it,
So, yeah,
cut it, move it.
looking at least probably 15 to 20 minutes to really get everything, say from start to finish.
Right.
You know, because you're going to keep adjusting and reset. Then you got the safety part that you got to worry about when you cross cutting it.
Oh yeah, the kickback.
Kickback. So I mean, you got all that in place. So it would take you a good, I'd say, 12 to 15 minutes to do this, and that's
So basically, at least double the time.
oh yeah.
And you haven't optimized yet the process of actually putting the wood on.
No,
And-
no, not yet. One thing I wanted to do with the motors is actually divert them back into my manifold, and that to where it blows air out.
Ah, so lift it back up.
Yeah. So it'll actually float the sheet for me,
That's a good idea.
to make it a lot easier. I've also looked later on once the shop gets added on, I can reposition my machine the way I want it, more centered up. I want to get make a deal to where it'll suck the plywood over there where
Right.
I'm at, and I'll just hoist it over here and everything, lay it down and use it as a plate.
Excellent idea. So this is 3/4 ply?
Yes, sir.
You did what, 2 passes? 2 roughing passes?
Yeah, there's 2 passes on it.
Or 1 rough and 1 finish?
It's a rough and a finish in that. Your second pass is going to take off, my rough is like 1/32 and everything to allow any kind of deformities or anything like that to get these things spread a little bit.
Perfectly squared up.
Yeah. And that finish pass comes in and kind of takes any kind of bumps out of it that may have happened with intersections. and
So
stuff.
that's another savings of the machine is the accuracy then, right?
Yes, correct.
Because you don't have to remeasure every single part.
Yeah,
Put it,
I mean,
make marks, put it back.
Yeah, I mean, it is so nice that once you design this and that with the software, that it creates the G code for you, and I mean it's foolproof. I mean, once you learn how to work with it, it's really foolproof. But this is what I like. My waste factor would have been a lot higher.
Right. That's a beautiful thing right there.
Then I mean,
So basically, if this doubles your output, in 15 minutes you saved a $40 sheet of plywood and $20 in help.
right, correct. Yeah, so I mean, there's no doubt about the machine.
So it pays for itself, basically.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, to me, first job, it paid for itself. I mean, I didn't have to fight the plywood, you know, feeding it through the saw and things like that, you know, and I mean, it dramatically saves. I definitely love the machine. I did. And as far as me putting it up against some of these cats that pay for 30,000, or even ones that are, you know, they may have a better table looking, you know,
Right.
all that, you know, they're 12,000,
But
15,000.
functionality.
This dude will match.
I think actually for a comparable size and functionality of this machine that you have, I think the cheapest I have seen is 12 to 15,000,
Yeah,
which is about 2 to 3 times what we charge, depending
Yeah.
on the features.
yeah. I mean, without any kind of perks or anything that I've kind of changed or modified or
Right.
anything. This machine total with that vacuum system, man. We're just gonna say the machine was $5 grand. Let's just put it at that, okay? The vacuum system, you can add another 1,100 on.
Easy.
Yeah, and that's.
So let's say you got $7 grand total,
$7,000.
shipping and everything,
Shipping and everything. So
and you could not get the same functionality for less than 20.
the one I looked at before I ran across you guys was only a 4x8, and it was $10,000 for a vacuum.
There you go.
The gantry is strong as hell.
It is.
I mean, it really is. She ain't got no get, I mean, you and I was talking about fluting.
Right.
I mean, I cut archwork in the wood, so rigid is really the number one thing for me. You know, a strong machine. You know, and
You're able to make it work though.
Oh yeah, I mean, this thing's been in production for 6 months, and so.
In addition to our own machines, we like clever engineering wherever we see it, and hacks. And so I had to let Rick show me his method for putting pocket holes in the cabinet sides and faces that he makes. He made a little foot pedal contraption with a drill and a wooden lever, and it's really nifty. So we wanted you to see that as well.
You want to see that in operation?
Down here?
Yeah. Put the pedal to the metal, baby. Rock and roll.
Let's see it work.
I drive a Cadillac 100 miles long. Back you can hear my radio on. Howlin' Wolf will give a spoonful to you, but in my dreams, spoonful sure won't do. I pull aces